So every month we set our Framelines community a street assignment to go out and take a street or documentary photograph on a specific theme. And last month the theme was abstract. We wanted people to go out and take an abstract street photo. Sounds a little daunting to me, but then we sat down and started thinking about abstract street photographers that we like. And there's a lot out there.
Yeah, there's a lot. I think like the obvious one, going back to someone like Saul Leiter and taking a look at his sense of abstraction, which was informed by his painting and everything he brought from painting into photography. And we still find interesting today looking at his work. We thought abstraction could be a very interesting challenge for people and to get people outside their comfort zone. Even if you don't normally shoot in that style, it's kind of fun to try it. And then we put together a guide describing photographers who worked within this kind of style, picking out different elements, describing how to do it, really, what kind of lenses to use, how to experiment with it. And we let people at it. A month later, we had tons and tons of submissions.
So if you aren't massively familiar with the Framelines community, it's a place where we have a private Discord and we also run the street assignments. And some of these assignments we feature in our print magazine, the latest of which is issue 08, which has just launched this week. And I think you have a copy in your hand, Shane.
I have a copy here. Yeah, issue 8 with Daniel Arnold. We have a huge 18-page feature with Daniel where we chat to him about motivation, editing, the early days of Instagram, adapting to commercial work, and how his recent focus has shifted to documenting his own relationships and home life. We also have a feature with Melissa O'Shaughnessy talking about humour in street photography. We look at the personal Polaroids of one of cinema's greatest cinematographers, Robby Muller. Tab Pong Prato Wong has some clever juxtapositions. We look at Matt Pear's Rolleiflex portraits of Birmingham. We have Linda Wisdom's romantic black and white look at London. We have a feature with the director of our favourite street photography documentary, Everybody Street, talking to Cheryl Dunn about behind the scenes and how a follow-up TV series was almost made. And on top of all of that, we have highlighted submissions from our monthly street assignment challenges, and we have features from myself and Josh. Josh photographs crufts in black and white, and I take a wider perspective on my usual London street photos.
We say this every time, but best issue yet. Let's pull up the gallery and have a look at the abstract assignments. So we've got this banner image from a photographer called Steve Gengler, and when I was sorting through the assignments, I saw this and was like, oh my word, this is so cool. Let me get the actual image without some text over the top. I've got a lot of submissions this time around. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, so this picture from Steve, when I saw it, I was like, this is just so creative, so fun. The colours are nice. You got the little... the guy framed pushing trolleys. I went on his Instagram when I saw this and saw that he did a whole series. I think he called it like just killing time in a rainy IKEA car park, waiting to buy a sofa. And he has a whole fun series of these shots with different colours and like, so creative. I don't think I've ever seen anything like this, really. Have you?
That's exactly what I thought when I first saw it. I'm like, how have I not seen an image like this before? I'm sure there probably are, but like being able to frame a subject like that in all these different little water droplets, I'm not sure how he did it. It looks like macro mode or something, right? But I love how all the figures are kind of, it's the same person, but it's all stretched and kind of surreal and cool.
Reminds me of like the eye of a spider or something in a cartoon.
Yeah.
It has like, yeah, I don't know. It's just really cool. And like he has like a whole series of about 5 or 6 shots on his Instagram as well, which we'll leave linked down below if you want to check it out. But yeah, this one really stopped me in my tracks. Super cool.
Yeah.
Super creative.
Good job, Steve.
Amazing. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, this one, super, super cool. Let's have a look. This one I also really liked from Stuart Hodgson. Stuart Hodgson? Yeah, again, yellow and blue, right? Really like fun, creative use of focus and depth of field and pleasing colours as well, right?
Yeah, super nice.
Yeah, nice layers, nice framing. Would you just say this uses blocking or subframing?
Yeah, there's lots of layers and subframing there. I like this image in that when you first look at it, you're kind of trying to figure out the perspective. Like he's shooting into or through a window, getting the reflection of the sky. But the way it all comes together, it's a bit confusing at first, isn't it? I guess it's a mirror in the background, isn't it?
Oh, wait, there's also, can you see, I didn't even know, and you just noticed there's like a photo of the guys on the, see that?
Very cool.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that adds a whole extra. That's really cool. Nice one. This one from Mark Luke Grant's pretty cool as well.
Yeah. Do you know what? That reminds me of, there's this double exposure image from Lewis 4.
I was just thinking that.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the child looking at the car crash, and there's a wedding double exposed onto it.
It has a double exposure vibe. I don't think this was. It's just a very nicely done reflection, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think this is from the Flaneur Walk in London, where people just kind of dress up nicely and have a bit of a stroll around London. I think a few members of the Framelines community went down and took some shots. And this one's super cool. Nicely framed. Nice use of the car windscreen to frame people. Yeah. Really nice.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah, see that one on the left? There's a guy walking. There's like a red bit of framing on the bottom. That one, yeah. Yeah. So I love the texture. I love the warmth of it. Savlev. Those kind of muted tones. And how the figure is like I've seen lots of images like this, you know, like shooting at the bus windows. But I just love the deep depth of focus, like everything's in focus, and there's just so much texture going on. Like it really seems like this image is about texture, and you can almost feel it. I think a print of this would be pretty cool.
Make a super nice print. I like how it's been composed. Like there's the lines and the framing. That red is like how Kodachrome red looks in my mind.
Yeah.
Very specifically.
Kind of an orangey red.
Yeah, that really warm, deep orangey red. It's like vibrant, but not oversaturated. It's like, if it wasn't, I feel like I might not even, that's really brings the image together for me. It's like an extra.
Yeah.
It would be quite muted without it, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
Nice.
And the whole image, I think it makes the image look a bit 2D. It almost looks like it was painted.
He's thought a lot about the sharpening and the like texture and the clarity as well. Like sometimes it can be quite easy to like overdo it. But what he's done is like just moved the sliders enough for it to really accentuate that texture, but not be too much, I think.
Yeah, and it looks like there's not a lot of true black in there. Like there's very subtle shadow and toning in the low end of the image. Yeah, which just gives it that kind of overall texture and kind of 2D feel. And on the lower left, I like the kind of is that like a graffitied name or something scratched into the bus? I like that. Good job, James. I've got another one. So it's just across from that. Matt Phillips, yeah. Again, it's kind of a similar thing where it's about texture and obscuring the figure. And there's just a lot of nice little details that I like on this.
I like that if it wasn't for the writing on the graffiti on the glass, you wouldn't even know there's a pane of glass there necessarily. It's kind of quite cleverly done where it's like, it kind of looks like someone's taken a photo of this guy and then drawn over the top of a print of him almost in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, like William Klein used to do that kind of thing.
Yeah. It's like almost like annotating a contact sheet kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. And the light's gorgeous as well, and the color, muted color.
Beautiful light, yeah, nicely framed around his face, the circle shape. I like the way there's like a line coming down from his eye to his hand as well. It's cleverly done in terms of the composition, I think.
Yeah, and it could be like a more traditional street photo without that element, without that layer of graffiti in front of him, right? Like you could imagine that being a fairly classic photo without the graffiti. So adding that element is kind of interesting.
Who doesn't want to have a nice sit down outside with a cheeky cig and read the paper?
Yeah, and a bevy.
A bevy. On the pre-lash.
What you got? What else do you like here?
Yes, hold on. Where is it?
Man, there's so many entries for this one, right?
Yeah, I was a little bit worried. Just, I mean, personal experiences. I find it quite tricky. The temptation for me would just be to shoot a pane of glass and hope for the best. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, very diverse range of submissions, very interesting interpretations as well.
Yeah, super interesting. I thought it might be, like, we did get some messages on the Discord where people were really struggling with it, I think early on. So we put a few guides together and we recommended some people for people to check out and kind of gave an overview of what this style would be, which I think kind of helped people. But yeah, I wasn't really expecting so many submissions and so many high quality submissions either.
Yeah, when you think abstract, I kind of panic when you think abstract. You're like, oh, who else does that? And then you realize there's like, oh, quite a lot of people. Like, like we said, Sarah Van Ridge and Gustavo Minas as well. Obviously, Saul Leiter, you spoke about. Alexander Babarakin, Rapnell.
Absolutely. Yeah, really good example. Also, we were talking about on the Discord about how it's not just long lenses. You know, you've got, you know, your Saul Leiter kind of style of abstraction where it's really focused on one area in the space in front of you. But then you have people like Stuart Patton, who shoots very wide but shoots into reflections, and there's just like so much going on in his images. It's a completely different style of abstraction, I think. And Gustavo Minas is kind of similar, right?
This one by Orkan y Tata kind of reminds me of both of those a little bit. Like, it's a wider lens, really powerful use of reflections, thinking about what's going on in the actual foreground, as it were. So,
yeah,
really consciously framing those hands.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things that Stuart Patton and Gustavo Minas do really well, and Orkan has done really well on this, is that there's like a sense of depth to the image. Like it's going back from different layers of the image, and it really feels like a kind of it's like a 3D perspective to it.
It's cool, right? Like sometimes, for me, the temptation would be to try and focus on something further away and try and build some depth from there. But he's gone at it the other way, and it works. It's quite surreal, isn't it?
Yeah.
Especially the headless mannequin here.
And it's also, like, this could also be a submission to the new street assignment, couldn't it? The Fill the Frame assignment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the latest, so abstraction is over, and this month in June, the newest street assignment is called Fill the Frame. And with that, we want people to submit photos where they do something like this, where there's just a lot of information, a lot of subjects. There's no space wasted in the image.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love that. Really fun. That's like a personal goal for me, is to try and fill the frame without it becoming too much. And like, it's tricky. It's tricky. I'm really excited to see how that comes together. I've seen a lot of people dropping their first tries in the Discord as well, which has been really nice.
Yeah, it seems like people really like that assignment in the Discord. I did a poll in the Discord for the next street assignment, for this month's street assignment, and I gave a few options, and Fill the Frame was like number one by miles. So I think people found it to be kind of a fun one.
I really like this one from Anne Grack. We talk about Anne a lot on the channel. Just takes really lovely abstract photos in Brighton. This one's super cool. I like the defined shape of the guy and how he's duplicated. Nice use of the sun and that like weird Brighton tower thing they have over there. It's cool, right? Like the nice warm tones as well.
Yeah, I like her photos. I like seeing that side of Brighton. It's not somewhere I've been very often, and just getting a kind of abstract sense of what it's like, because you do see a lot of the typical kind of UK seaside kind of photos of Brighton, right? But getting something that's a bit more abstract is always kind of interesting. I really like the profile of the guy. It's almost like a Hitchcock silhouette or something, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
And the fact that like he's pushed over on the right, and he's on like the right third, and it's kind of broken up into sections. Yeah, it's really interesting to see an image like this where it's abstract, but it doesn't feel clinical. It feels warm and nostalgic.
Yeah, and just a bit off angle as well. like you say, just a whole different side. Like it's Brighton Pier, but if you didn't, I didn't know it's Brighton Pier because I go there a lot. But if you didn't, yeah, the context is mysterious. It's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got another one. So if you scroll down as far as the droplets image, it's like halfway to Sarah Plummer. Yeah, I really like this because it's an image that's flipped and it really warps your perspective. And I guess she shot straight up into a canopy or an awning with a mirror on the bottom, like a reflective surface.
Is that John Lewis on Oxford Street?
Could be. Yeah, it could be. But I like the depth of the shadow and the way that forms a huge shape. I like the reds. Again, it's kind of a Kodachrome, like orangey red. And the lines of the frame, the way it gives you a sense of depth as well. And it's a cool idea to just look up sometimes when you're out taking photographs and see what you can find, instead of like being fixed on what's in front of you, to look up and down.
I think I said this about Sarah's picture in the last video where she took this picture in Trafalgar Square. Like I like that it's somewhere I've seen photographed a lot, but it looks very different to other people's photographs of that, and it's really, really strong. Assuming this is John Lewis on Oxford Street, in which case I'm completely wrong. Either way, I love it. I love the colour as well. I love that specific warm yellow colour. And you got the little pop of the teal in the top right-hand corner as well.
It totally makes it, doesn't it? That little teal,
yeah.
and the contrast, or the complement of the teal to the red, I think is really cool. I like how she separated all the figures too. Yeah, cool image.
This one?
Yeah.
This one from Craig Nelson.
Yeah. It looks like, it reminds me of an image. I'm not sure what it reminds me of, but it is kind of surreal. I guess like something being surreal is an element of abstraction as well. So, yeah, it just
makes it. Sorry.
What makes it surreal?
I was saying what really stands. It is against the background makes it quite surreal to me.
Yeah,
right.
Like that's exactly it. Like as an image, the way it's formed and the cleanness of the edges and the fact that he's caught the balloon right in that dark shadow, and then the shape that the shadow of the balloon takes, it's just cool. And the composition of it, like I can imagine that as a painting.
It also wouldn't be it wouldn't be a chat between me and you if we didn't mention Stephen King. It has a bit of an it vibe, doesn't it?
Yep, it does. It does. It's probably why I liked it actually initially. Yeah, it's got that Pennywise thing about it. Pennywise is probably just lurking. He cropped out Pennywise on the right, and that's why it's a square format image.
You were just saying to me how much you relate to Pennywise, weren't you?
Yeah, he's a cool guy. He's Irish. Pennywise is Irish. Did you know that?
This one from Mike Brown?
Yeah. So before you talk about that one, this is something like you've done really well, I think. Like your photos in Kew Gardens of, I think you call it flora, and the condensation on the windows with the flowers looks really, really cool. So I can see why you like this.
You're very kind. Yeah, I know it's something that has been done a lot, but I think to do it because it's been done so much, to find an interesting way to do it is quite tricky. And it's just pleasing. Like you get nice colors. It's quite abstract. This one in particular, you've got like the defined hand. There's a little bit of emotion there. It's a bit stressful. Look like they're working on a computer. Nice colors as well, the blue and the yellow. Yeah, I like it. Nice one, Mike.
Yeah, I like it too. And like, isn't that a thing about street photography where I think we all repeat certain cliches because it's inevitable. Like everything's been done. So we end up doing things over and over again. But sometimes it just works, right? And sometimes you get a really pleasing image. And I think you have to be happy with that at the end of the day, even if you're going over trodden ground. Is that a phrase?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's been all I've ever done, really.
Well, I think it's all everyone ever does, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
That unicorn one is weird, isn't it? Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, yeah, that is cool. So what? It's hard. That focus is on Yeah.
So the focus is on the glass and you're seeing the texture of the glass. Is that it?
Yes, but then it's like, how is this so out of focus behind it?
Yeah. It's like a unicorn frozen in ice.
Yeah.
Like Encino Man. Encino unicorn.
I like this one. Nice one, Nick.
Good job, Nick.
It's cool. It's in black and white as well. Because
Yeah.
black and white is cool.
Yeah, you're really into black and white lately.
You know, I was, and then I made that video about it, and I feel like I kind of like got that off my chest, and now I haven't shot it since. It's weird. It was like cathartic. I was like, yeah, I'll give it a go. And then I was like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, like that happens to me sometimes. It feels like when you publish a video on it, it's like you've completed a series and you're ready to move on to something else sometimes, right?
Yeah. I also did get quite a lot of messages from people like, yeah, don't do that. This one from Derek Bennett.
Yeah. I think it's kind of a popular style at the moment. Like you mentioned, Wrapped Nil. He does this kind of like motion, sort of a nostalgic and sense of motion with a shutter speed. So I thought we'd get a lot more like this, but I really like this one. And I think it works with the pop of red in the top right. And it's also incredibly abstract because I don't know what it's really a photo of. I guess it's a woman in like some kind of pea hat. Is that an umbrella?
Oh, yeah, there's an umbrella. Oh, yeah. She's wearing a sun hat. Maybe it's like a beach umbrella or something.
Yeah, it could be.
The thing I like about this kind of stuff, I'm thinking about going out and taking pictures at normal shutter speed. You kind of know what you're going to get in a way. You're seeing it with the mirrorless camera at least. But with this kind of stuff, you just don't. So you just keep just jiggling the camera around and be like, oh yeah, I got something that looks kind of cool.
Yeah, I wonder, like, do you realize in the moment that you got something cool, or is it in the editing process later when you're going through it?
Yeah. I mean, it looks great. I really like I think I'm just obsessed with just a pop of red in the corner, but I like the pop of red in the corner. It's nice.
Yeah, very cool. Good job, Derek.
Craig's balloon floating in the corner. What am I talking about?
Oh, if you scroll down, sorry, there's another one. See that one with the light leak? Yeah, you just over it now? Yeah.
Oh no, a light leak.
It's called a light leak.
Pleasing light leak.
Yeah, which is very rare, I think. Like sometimes you see a lot of photos that are, the first of the frame with the light leak like that. But I think this one works really well, and the composition of it, I like that the woman on the bike with the red backpack, the way she's framed in that section of the window, and the way the frame is split in two, with a focus on the left and right hand of the scenery, and the fact that you can't see the guy's face on the left. You can't see any face actually, really. Yeah, it's a cool image. I like the greens and the red as well. Like, I think it'd be less interesting without that light leak, because it would be, maybe too much green.
That's true, actually. That really balances it, doesn't it? And it's also weirdly not distracting. It could very much take over the image, but it doesn't. This could be another contender for the fill the frame, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Nicely done, Tim.
Yeah, I like that. Esteban de Castillo. Yeah, I like it. Again, so with abstraction in photography or in art in general, you're kind of focused on, you're looking at the overall shapes that are in the frame. And I think this is a very pleasing shape that's formed in the shadows and in the light parts. And then you have an element of a figure with the foot, which gives you a sense of humanity and what's actually framed.
Humanity. The single foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this one. I like the line cutting across the frame direct to the heel of the foot, and then it's obviously framed by the shadow and the curtain as well. Part of me almost kind of wishes it was almost a little bit more contrasty, or maybe in black and white. I don't know. It's already quite monochrome, isn't it?
Yeah. I think if I could change something about it, it would be the heel of the shoe, and if there was more separation between that and the pillar, so it's more of a defined figure around the foot. I think that'd be cool. but sometimes you're not lucky in that way.
Yeah, really nice one. Thank you, Esteban. So this one from Leo Sareva. Super cool. I've seen, this reminds me of a photo by Alan Burles in Trafalgar Square, where he's like shooting like a huge crowd of people through the like concrete like railings they have. I love that it feels like these plastic chairs kind of go on forever. Love how close they are and the fact they're empty. And then it's like almost, it's like he's shooting through some kind of like wrapping paper. Yeah, that kind of, that red around the edge reminds me of, what's that film? American Beauty. The rose petals. And stuff. I don't know. Yeah. It's just, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I like that the chairs form such a surreal pattern. It's almost like a pattern created in Photoshop or something, because they're almost like so perfectly aligned. There's a very kind of 2D feel to it.
Reminds me of like one of the like modern Star Wars films where they have a huge CGI army.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Nicely done, Leo.
Yeah, and the contrast between color as well, the red on the outside and then the Star Wars drone shades of white. So this is all part of our community effort just to get more people, just to like inspire people, right? And give them something to shoot about, because I think with street photography in general, it's very easy to just leave your house and, go to the same places you're going to go to and kind of take the same photos. So having some kind of challenge and something to motivate you to take a very specific type of image and maybe something that's outside your comfort zone, I think is interesting. So that's kind of the whole reason we started this. And I mean, it's really blown up. Like the last submission was huge. So many people involved, and we're talking about, maybe growing it and getting guest people in to judge photos, I think could be cool. Introduce some prizes at some stage. So yeah, it's a really fun thing to do.
Big thank you to everybody who watched it. More details on the community in the description. And if you want to follow everybody, also in the description. Framelines issue 8 is also live. How much more stuff can I... Everything. Links galore.
Yeah.
Links.
Go to the website, check out the gallery. Let us know in the comments if you have any favorites. And absolutely get in touch with the people whose photos you like from the gallery, because people love to hear feedback about their photos. Thanks for watching. Take care.